Today we're going to be talking about foundations, meaning that this type of presentation that I'm going to tell you, some of the stuff I'm going to teach you, is really for jump starts, startups, early practice acquisitions, first-time dental practice founders. And I love working with the first-time dental practice founders because we get to do things right the first time instead of when I work with someone that's 10 years in, 5 years in, did all the foundations incorrectly, and then they're figuring out how they're going to keep the lights on, right? So we've talked a lot about the legal side. We've talked about the loan side. We're going to be talking about the accounting side, and the due diligence. You guys must hear that. Fazell is so excellent at that. But today I'm going to talk about something you're going to do towards the end of, setting up the practice, which is working with someone like me or working with another marketing company to figure out, well, how do I get patients through the door, right? Because you could purchase all the best equipment, you could have the greatest tiles and floors and ceilings and everything, but if the patients are going through the door, I mean, that's really the bloodline of your practice, is your patients. That's the most important thing, is your patient. So we're going to talk about that. You guys are all in California, which is, if you're deciding to open up a practice here in California, you're deciding to enter a race. Because let me tell you, California accounts for 12% of the US population. But let me ask a question. What does California account for in terms of the percentage of practices in America? Does anyone have an answer to that? Does anyone want to make a guess? No, not 40. No. 24, very close. 28, the answer is 26. So California, despite the fact that it's only 12% of the US population, has 26% of all dental practices. So you're choosing, if you're going to open a practice here, you have to be very smart, because the reality is you have competition. So we're going to talk about how to set yourself apart. So I mentioned this, California accounts for 26% of dental practices in the US, and the rate at which it grows is 7% per 2020 to 2025. So there's 7% growth in that. I only expect this to increase. Why is California so popular? Nice weather, it's beautiful, it's expensive, right? You got high taxes? No, it's because you have a lot of the best and smartest people here. That's just the reality, right? You have a lot of people that are first generation immigrants, second generation immigrants, and so they condense and they pack up the Bay Area and they pack up Orange County, San Diego, Los Angeles. And that's just the reality, right? The second thing is, why is it important for us to talk about how are we going to get patients? Because we have to figure out how to attract new patients, how to build brand awareness, how to strengthen our referral network, and increase our patient engagement, and ultimately how to stand out against all the other practices in our area. Now, I'm about to tell you guys about insurance, because the first question I ask to anybody that I have a talk with is, what's your situation with insurance? Are you going to credential? Are you not going to credential? When you're buying a practice, what was the prior doctor using? What are you planning to do? So right now I'm going to tell you, 30% of all patients in California don't have any dental insurance. And probably more than that don't even go to the dentist. So you have 30% don't have any dental insurance. You have 33% that are on the state-sponsored Denti-Cal, Medi-Cal. You have 20% on the HMO. That leaves you with only 17% on the PPO plans, guys. Only 17% of patients in California have PPO insurance, right? Something to think about when you open a practice. Now let's talk about practices. 30% are PPO only practices. 20% are fee for service, meaning they don't take any insurance. And you got about 50% that take everything. Medi-Cal, HMO, all insurances. So let me just break this down to you guys. You want to open up a PPO only practice. So you're saying you're going to compete with the 30% of practices for 17% of the patient population. Do you not think it's important to figure out a strategy on how you're going to get these patients to become your patient? Because I'm going to tell you the reality. The PPO patients, the fee-for-service patients, they get to choose wherever they want to go. So Now it's no longer the days where people trust in word of mouth and they just go to the nearest dental office near them. They can choose. We're going to talk about that more. So if you're going to be a PPO only practice, you're not going to work with any other insurances, then you need to be very smart about how you're going to do your marketing. Now let's talk about understanding the dental consumer in 2025. There's a growing preference for convenience, who's close to me, comfort, and transparency. Transparency means when I go to the office, do I already have I already read their reviews? Have I already went on their website? Do I already know what they're going to offer? The word of mouth days, they're dying, guys. I rarely hear someone say, I found you guys from word of mouth. I don't even get people telling me they found me from word of mouth. They always say it was a direct referral. It was, I Googled you guys. You're going to hear that the most. I Googled you guys. And let's just really put this into perspective. When there's a good economy, more elective cases. When there's a bad economy, no one's getting elective cases. When the economy is bad, people don't spend their money on getting more porcelain veneers. People spend their money on trying to figure out how they're going to pay the $1,000 at Costco. Should I spend my $1,000 on one tooth, or should I spend my $1,000 at Costco? So this is the reality. You cannot just be, unless you have years of experience and you're doing all the celebrities, and even the clients that I've talked to that are in Beverly Hills that mainly focus on cosmetic dentistry, even they're taking a hit. So if you need to have a very good patient base of bread and butter dentistry, if you're going to open up a dental practice. Building long-term relationships is key. How are you going to build long-term relationships? You need to have a digital presence that builds the relationship with your patient before they even walked in your door, before they even got in your operatory, before they even sat on your chair. They need to know who you are. So the more your patients interact with you, the more they see you, the more they look at your digital assets, the higher chance you have of retaining them. Because it's no longer just about attracting them, it's about retaining them, because the competition is massive, right? They don't like one thing about you, there's another practice down the street. So what are we going to do to retain them? We have to continue to be in their minds. We have to continue to be exposed to them. So I'm going to walk you guys about what I think are the foundations. So I know a lot of people here are planning to show of hands. Everyone here associates. Has anyone here ever owned a dental practice? You guys have owned a dental practice. Awesome. So what you do when you're starting your dental practice versus what you do when you're 1-2 years in is very different. So we're going to focus on foundations. So the first thing that people don't think about, your practice name. You want to call your practice after your own name? It's fine. When you go sell it, the buyer can't use a single one of those assets. All those Google reviews of Dr. Howard Chen, when the new doctor's name is Dr. Mark Zinger, is not going to be able to be translated. You have to think about building a brand. And also, when you open up your practice and you're thinking about naming the practice after yourself, and you start hiring associates because you're starting to do well, you're going to run into a situation where patients say, why am I seeing the associate? I don't want to see the associate. I want to see the primary doctor. I want to see the dentist. So what we believe in is you should find a name that sticks out as a brand. And what we do is we conduct in-depth research to identify which practice names are going to align the best when it comes to your goals. So what we do is we secure a geo-targeted name. Anyone know PDS? They're the best at this. PDS, when they buy a practice, they rename that practice and they call it something geo-related, something with the city, something with the zip code. We still need to figure out and do the research which one's going to perform best. So we look at the data that tells us exactly which keywords are being the most searched for in your particular city. So here's an example. We have a couple different options. Beverly Hills Cosmetic Dentistry. This is someone I really helped secure a name with. Beverly Hills Smile Dentistry, Beverly Hills Smile Dentist, Beverly Hills Smile Dentist. This doctor said there's no way I'm going to find a name. Every single good domain's already been taken in Beverly Hills. I said, no, hold your horses. I'm going to help you out. This one came out at $459. Sometimes domains can, I have had a client pay $4,000 for a domain. So looking and doing the research and figuring out what's the best practice name is where we start first. Next is your branding. I'm going real basics. I'm going real foundations. People care about logos. You might not think so, but they think about Mercedes, they think about Rolex, they think about all of these brands. What makes them so great is that they have something that's very. So our approach is that we're going to develop initial logo concepts that are tailored to your practice's vision and the culture of your practice. I have some practices, they're a medical practice, and they want their logo to look like Porsche. Well, I want to tell you this, those patients are not going to feel comfortable. You need to find something that's going to relate with them. And the same thing, if you want to be ultra luxurious, you better look ultra luxurious. But I would say it depends on the patient population. That's how you should determine. So we'll come up with a professional logo, we'll come up with a color palette, we'll come up with a custom font, and usually it's a process where we'll design multiple and then we'll come up with the one that you think does best, but we'll always give our personal input on that as well. So these are some examples of some logos. They're not cookie cutter, as you can see. Everything is based on the vision, the practice. We want you to feel prideful when you see this logo, that it's emblematic to your practice and who you are and your identity. So we have a couple examples here. If I'm in West Hollywood, I want something that looks a little bit, you got cursive font with a sunset and a palm tree, something that's a little bit more modern. If I'm focused on, this is a client, OC Perio and Implant Dental Group. They wanted something with a tooth, they wanted something with an implant, and something that covers Orange County as well. Something very sleek, Malibu Dentistry. And so the important thing is when you have the practice, you buy the practice, you start the practice, you must have a brand that you believe, that you're so prideful of owning that, because people remember these things. Because if you put that much effort into your logo design and your color palette, you're going to put that much effort. And if you only care about cookie cutter, I think you're cookie cutter. So let's talk about purpose-driven website performances. Why is this important? I hear all the time, websites don't matter anymore. Well, I think it just depends. A good website matters, a bad website doesn't matter. That's the reality. So what is the purpose of a website? There's a couple different things we need to do. One, collect the patient information securely and quickly. That's what it's about. I need to get the patient's name, phone number, and email. Second thing, mobile friendly. I see so many websites right now, they break compliance with the American Disabilities. So and they have visual impairments, and they're getting wrecked when it comes to Google search engines. We got to make sure that your website is mobile friendly, and it's also great for people with visual impairment. Showcase your unique work and build trust. I would never see a dentist unless I saw their work on their website of before and afters. Listen to me. If you don't take before and afters, people won't trust you. You need to take your before and afters. You need to showcase your work. Everyone needs to have a smile gallery. Right now, I would start having these conversations, figuring it out. If you're associating right now, if this is my work, do I have ownership of some photos I can take? Maybe at some point you have a conversation with the owner of your practice. Would it be okay if I took some photos of the patients I work on? Most of the people I work with, all the photos are tied to where they're associated. They build a new practice, they have no photos. They have nothing. We need photos, guys. Everything is stored on media. And lastly, your website is going to be your digital storefront. Because here's the reality. This is a crazy statistic. If you have a good website, more patients will see your website and come to your practice, right? Most of the time, before anyone engages and does business, they'll go to your website, they'll read all about you, they'll look at your smile gallery, they'll see what kind of insurances you take, and then maybe they think about submitting their information. So we have to do everything possible to get them to submit their information and to become a patient. So next, what's our design? What makes us different at Dentist Nerds? Once again, when we design websites, design is one thing. This is the way I think about it. You could have the greatest looking operatories, the greatest looking dental practice, the greatest office. You don't bring patients in, it doesn't matter. So it's the same thing when it comes to websites. We need to design a high performative website with organic search at top of mind. Organic search meaning when people search on Google, when the website is released, I want to make sure that within a couple months that you guys are starting to rank. When people search for cosmetic dentists, when people search for braces, when people search for fillings, when people search for implants, right? So what we do, which is what nobody wants to do, but we figured out that this works. For every single procedure, dental service, or treatment that you provide, we're going to create a custom page for it. So when you launch that website, sometimes it's 50, 60 pages, 40 of them dedicated to treatments. You almost need to treat your website like it's academic. Like you're literally doing research on what makes you the best provider for all these treatments. Then talk about content. We always do custom content. We never copy and paste any of the content. Why is this so important? Two things: search engine optimization, okay, and AI. You use AI to write your content, AI can tell. So here's the weird thing. You write content organically so that AI can cite your organic content and create AI content for someone else, right? It's a weird cycle, but that's the reality. So we have to make sure that the content on your website, people say, can you do SEO on my website? Can you bring up the organic traffic? I said, well, everything starts on the website. So if your website isn't built well, it's going to take a lot of time to get it to start ranking on Google. But if we can build a good foundation, you should start ranking very quickly, right when the website is deployed. Yeah, it's a bit of both, but most of it is exposed to the user. There's gonna be other things that are not public, but most of it's gonna be public. And then lastly, this is the reality. If you're gonna work with anyone, ask them how frequently they update the website. If the answer is anything less than 1 week, they're not doing much. So the reality is Google's algorithm likes to see weekly updates. And the weird thing about Google when it comes to their search algorithm is you might not see the immediate impacts of making updates to your websites weekly, but down the line, you publish something, it starts to get traction, then you're seeing the progress 2 months later. So this is an example. This is called a sitemap. This is a blueprint. We do this for every single client, okay? Before the website is even developed, we are going to map every page. We're going to make sure that you know what exactly it is that you're buying from a website. And so what I see a lot of times in dental marketing is that there's a company that says the website costs, they'll make up I don't know, they'll say it costs $7,000. Okay, but what is it that you're buying? What is a website? A website is so many things, but for sure it's the content. So you need to know exactly what is the content that's being written about your practice. You should actually audit every single page for the practice that you work at right now and actually look and see if every service that you do, every treatment that you do is even mentioned on their website. Because if you don't mention it, there's no way that patients can even find you for it. So we'll define the website structure, the architecture, the sitemap, and the user experience, and we'll organize the pages, gallery, services, doctor biographies, and we're developing pages for first full service coverage because this is the reality. The more pages you have, the more treatments you can talk about, the more likely that Google sees your website as an authority. And if it sees your website as an authority, that means you have a better chance to be able to rank better on Google search and on AI. So once again, it's no longer writing websites for Google search. I am going to go into some examples of how our clients are being found through ChatGPT. And that's the one thing I'm really hitting hard right now. So next, let's talk about my process with my company, Dentist Nerds. I don't do marketing unless you are willing to be in front of the camera. If you're not willing to be in front of the camera, I don't even trust that you're going to do well. Like, I'm serious. I have all these calls. Doctor says, I don't want to be in front of the camera. Can you guys just use an AI generated person? Can we pay a model to pretend to be in the doctor? What patient is going to go do a full arch, implant with you if they don't even know that you have the confidence to speak to them and teach them about that procedure before they come in? So here's the reality about dentistry, guys. The success of your practice is based on how marketable you are, is based on how people like you. If you're not likable, I'm sorry to break it to you. You might not be the right person to open up a dental practice. So if you're likable, then more likely people are going to want to work with you, right? So what we do is we plan a content shoot. We'll do this, depending on what type of marketing we're doing, we'll sometimes do it 3 times a year, where we send a professional videographer, such as the gentleman Frankie back there and his team, to go and shoot your practice, shoot the doctor, shoot the treatments, shoot the patients, giving testimonials, shooting the before and afters, you explaining the treatments to your patients, right? So I think this is really key. When you guys go home and you're on your phone, what are you looking at? Videos. Are people still taking the time to upload pictures? You guys spend 6 minutes looking at a picture? You guys watch videos. All your attention is on videos. So you need to get on video, because you need to start taking up the real estate of patients' attention. So this is what we do on our first deployment of content that we film, we direct, we shoot. We do at least 10 short videos for you guys with subtitles, with branding. And then we embed that content to your website, to your marketing campaigns, and we know that putting videos on everything is more likely to increase conversion. So if you have a call with a dental marketing company and they say, we can launch you tomorrow, ask them, what materials are you using to launch me with? Is it the same stock image you used with your 500 other clients? The reality is most of the time it is, because it's cookie cutter, it's cheap, and it's fast. Anything good never comes cheap and fast. So these are some examples of the photography that we shoot when we go to dental practices: operatory, doctor with patient, team, equipment, anything that we could use. If you look at this versus stock images that you see online on most dental websites, you're more likely going to become a patient here. And then I'm going to show you guys an example of an advertisement that I shot with a practice to show you, if someone's looking for dental implants, are they more likely to go with a doctor that just has a 1 paragraph, this is what dental implants is, and here's a picture of a dental implant, or if you were scrolling on Facebook and you saw this, you would be more likely to become a patient.
Are you seriously still considering getting removable dentures? I'm Dr. R.B. Ismailian, and at Smile Studios Dentistry, we've helped hundreds of patients replace their missing teeth so they're happier, healthier, and feel good about themselves. Instead of removable dentures, get a dental implant. You don't have to worry about dentures feeling loose, flopping around, or falling out while you're eating. No one wants that. They're very natural looking and the closest thing to a real tooth. Our experienced team has helped hundreds of people smile, speak, and feel confident, and we can help you as well.
45 seconds. That's all it took, 45 seconds. I run that on Meta, I run that on Google, I run that on Facebook, I run that on TikTok. They're going to outperform everyone around them, because who's taking the time to do this?
Are you seriously still considering getting removable?
I am not considering getting removable. All right, so next let's talk about the impact of viral content. If you want to not pay money and get lots of patients, get on social media, because it's free. Get on TikTok, because the days of getting patients on Instagram, unless you're spending a lot of money, you're not getting them on Instagram. But on TikTok, the virality factor is still there. We still do videos that get hundreds of thousands to sometimes millions of views on TikTok. I'm going to show you an example of one. This one in particular, this is a client, Temecula Dental Implants Oral Surgery Center. This TikTok did 5 million views. Do you know how hard it is to get a dog video to get 5 million views? This is dentistry going 5 million views. And this is the reality because people love to see emotional change. So if you're showing that you're changing your patients' lives and you're documenting that, people have an emotional resonance to that and they want to become your patient. And now they're in the position where they're trying to figure out how to come up with travel packages to fly people to Carlsbad and get a hotel room and all this stuff. So it's very possible they compete with the corporate dental practices. They compete with 4M. They compete with Nuvia, and they're still getting market share. They're still doing, a lot of full arch cases. Then you start to get the comments. The comments say, how much does this cost? Where are you guys located? I'm going to call you guys. Engage. Engage on the comments. Engage in the DMs. If you're not engaging on the comments and DMs, you're not building community. That's the real value of social media, the ability to create community with your patients. So this is shot on an iPhone, guys. This doesn't take anything crazy.
No way! Wow. Big smile.
This should remind you why you got into dentistry in the first place. You got into this to change people's lives. And this is a real example of that being done. So I also want to give you guys a statistic. For every 1,000,000 views on TikTok, how much would that have cost if you were to run ads? Does anyone know the answer? 20,000. It costs $20,000 to get 1,000,000 views. We did that organically. There was no boosting. There was no ads. This was a real patient who experienced a life-changing treatment, and it went viral. And when that video went viral, they were getting inbound calls. I want to work with a small provider. I want to work with a doctor who's going to take care of me. I don't want to work with corporate dentistry. That's how you're going to compete. So let's talk about organic search. I hear this all the time. SEO is dead. AI is taking over. What people don't understand is that a lot of the times it's the same strategy that gets you ranked on Google that it does to get you mentioned on ChatGPT. So it's no longer, everyone used to say search engine optimization, SEO, SEO. It's no longer SEO. It's search everywhere optimization. It's organic search, meaning SEO, GEO, which is generative optimization, and AEO, answer engine optimization. You need to be found geographically. You need to be found on Google Organic. You also need to be found on AI. So if you, I know the data. The #1 dentist in Beverly Hills, his practice is called Beverly Hills Dentistry. The data shows that he eats up 44% of all the searches in Beverly Hills. By being #1, he ate up 44% of all the searches for a dentist in Beverly Hills. Guess what was number 2, 3, and 4? They were all sharing 14 to 16% each in searches. And everyone after that, single digit. That's how powerful it is to be the #1 ranked dentist in your area. And the search volume on that is over 6,000 a month. The search volume is going to be different everywhere else. But if you're ranking #1, you're putting your competition out of business. That's what you're doing. That's the value of being ranking #1. So how can we drive targeted traffic to the website for all the different types of treatments that we offer? And here's the beautiful thing about organic search. It doesn't take any ad spend. All we're doing is updating the content, filming videos, getting the practice to have more recognition on ChatGPT and Gemini. All of these things are very cost-effective ways to getting more patients. And I always tell my new practice founders, the ones that just opened up a practice recently, focus on organic search because you don't have the budget to be spending $10,000 on ads a month right now. At some point, that should be your aim. Your aim should be to spend 5 figures on ads a month because you know the return on that is going to be 5 to 10x. Like with the temecula dental implants that I work with, we've done probably, I don't want to say, but close to 8 figures in full arches, guys, in the year that I've worked with them. Next, let's talk about artificial intelligence, right? This is something that my company is really pioneering right now. How to get more searches on Gemini, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud, and Grok. I think those are the 5 most important ones. Obviously, Gemini and ChatGPT is going to take up probably around 70% of the total volume. So one is, I talked about this already, we have to create dedicated pages that talk about the content of every single treatment that you provide. Second is, really what it's becoming is your Google Maps profile is just as important as your website. People are not understanding how important Google Maps is. And that's something that you, as the owner of your practice, can actually influence. You can go get reviews. I worked with one lady, she became maniacal and got 100 reviews per month. And then I have some people I talk to that after 1 year of being established, they were only able to get 30 reviews. What does that tell me? Probably your patients don't really believe in you, right? So you need to get reviews. That is the number one thing you can do to help your practice that costs $0. Get Google reviews, guys. If you don't remember anything, get Google reviews. Then we'll talk about the content that we use on websites, on blogs, on pages has to be written in what's called a long tail way. Long tail means we're being very direct. We're being very descriptive about the type of content that we're writing. What most marketing companies do is that they're using the old way, which is short tail content. They believe that if they spam the word dentist in Monterey Bay 100 times on a page and do it consistently, that it's going to drive their traffic up. And the reality is it'll do it for a short time, but then you're going to get penalized. So you need to be very smart in terms of how you do the content. So I want to show you guys exactly what we do on ChatGPT that gets our clients more patients. And I'm going to show you 3 examples, each of them increasing in their difficulty. So the first one, find me a reliable implant provider in Orange County area. Very, very, very simple, right? What comes up? My client, OC Perion Implants Dental Group in the whole county of Orange. They're number 1 on Google search and on ChatGPT and on Gemini. So if people are looking for an option for an implant in Orange County, that simple query gets them in front of patients. Number 2, this is going to be more complex. I'm on vacation with my family in Malibu, and I'm experiencing some tooth discomfort. Any dentist you recommend that uses natural materials and is holistic? So I increased the difficulty. I got more descriptive with what my need is. Natural materials, holistic. If you're experiencing dental discomfort while vacationing Malibu and are interested in holistic or natural materials, here are some excellent options. My client, right at the top, Malibu Dentistry, Dr. Austin, holistic biomimetic approach using minimally invasive technique and focus on whole body health. Because we did so much material that focuses on holistic dentistry, biomimetic dentistry, advanced technology, minimally invasive. That was the whole goal. And now we're showing up number 1 on ChatGPT. I'm going to take it one step further. Very descriptive. This is how people are going to search for patients, guys. People don't just search dentist near me. This is how people are going to search for patients. And I guarantee all of you are using the same exact thing. My sister just moved to West Hollywood and is searching for a Spanish-speaking dental practice that takes Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance, and she's looking for porcelain veneers that look exactly like the Hollywood movie stars. There's no Google search that's going to give you that answer. That's so many different factors. That's 1, West Hollywood. 2, speak Spanish. 3, Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. 4, porcelain veneers. 5, Hollywood look. But yet at the same time, my client shows up number 1, West Hollywood Dental Studio. They are multilingual. They speak English and Spanish. They take most major PPO plans, explicitly including Blue Cross Blue Shield, and they offer porcelain veneers with a modern technology and patient-focused approach, right? Long tail strategy, guys. we can get your practice to ranking at the top of ChatGPT and Gemini. And not many people know how to do this yet. But this is something that we focus on every single day. How do we get better at it? Because I'm going to make the bet right now that in about 2 years from now, this is going to be 80% of how patients find doctors and dentists without social media. So then we'll talk about paid ads. I'll go into this a little bit. I'm going to tell you all, your new practice, don't focus too much on this. Because the DSOs and the corporate guys, they're going to outspend you and murder you on Google ads. The only kind of ads I think a dental startup should do is social media. And not just ads. I think you should actually post multiple times a week, 4 times, 5 times a week. I think you should make it part of your job to post content. If you go play with the big boys, with the Nuvias, with the Pacific Dentals, their ad spend is over $10,000 a month, sometimes $50,000 a month. There's a doctor in Beverly Hills, he spends $90,000 a month on ads. So don't play with the big boys. Anyone ever watch Moneyball, the movie? Read the book, Michael Lewis. What was the concept of Moneyball? So the whole point of the movie Moneyball, I recommend everyone to watch it. And it's a book by Michael Lewis. He also wrote The Big Short. He was the vice president of the Oakland Athletics. They had the worst budget in all of baseball. They literally had 1/10 of the budget of the New York Yankees. But they had to figure out how to perform, how to literally get to, I don't know, the Athletic League, the National League finals. How do they do it? Through smart ways that no one else was looking at. So this is why I think it's so important that you don't just, every marketing company wants you to jump into paid ads on day one. Why? Because they always say, I want a percentage of the ad spend. I want you to increase more ads. It's quick and it's easy. It's very easy to run paid ads. Google ads. I could do that in 1 day. I could do that in 2 hours. I don't even have to monitor it. So paid ads is something you should do once you have all of your foundations set. So when it comes to paid ads, I'll tell you the 2 that I like the most in dentistry: Google ads and Meta ads. Meta is Facebook and Instagram. For Google ads, it's the best at converting direct searches to a patient, because on Google ads, people are searching veneers. They're searching smile makeover. They're searching orthodontics. They're searching braces. And then you're pushing them to go to your practice. On Meta and on any social media, that's where we're talking about creating demand. We're talking about creating demand for something that doesn't exist yet, which is showing people your smile makeovers, showing people your patient testimonials, showing people your work. And here's the reality: paid ads do drive more conversion in terms of total volume compared to organic search, because you can always spend more to get more calls. So when it comes to paid ads, what I'm finding is that the best ROI is to run paid ads when it comes to very high-end complex cases. So the more complex the case, the higher the return on investment is going to be. So now I don't recommend running paid ads when it comes to a dentist near me campaign, because I don't know how much you charge for cleaning, but if that patient comes in and it costs you $150 to get the patient, and then that patient's total treatment was $200, you only netted $50, you might as well just get on Medi-Cal. What's the difference? So I believe in custom video ad creatives that are designated for your ideal patient and to optimize your landing pages consistently to maximize conversions. And when it comes to paid ads, we have to think about what is the precise audience and local demographic. If I'm running an ad and it's focused on a full arch, if I'm running any perio, if I'm running Lanap, why should I target teenagers? Why should I target young adults? It doesn't make sense. I need to be running ads that are targeted at 50 plus. These are the people that start to have periodontal disease. If I'm running paid ads and it's about ortho, why would I not want to run it at people in Facebook and on Instagram that are of a younger population? I might even try Snapchat, right? According to what type of case you're doing should determine the strategy on what type of ad you're running. And lastly, we have to look at monthly performance benchmarks. I want you guys to write down these KPIs. Cost per lead, CPL, cost per lead, CPP, cost per patient, lead to new patient conversion percentage, I want you to know these things. I want you to start analyzing it when you go to work. What is our total number of leads? How much does it cost us to get this lead? Because some treatments are going to have a higher cost per lead and some are going to have a lower cost per lead. Campaign level. When we're running campaigns, we might be running 5, 6 campaigns. We need to continue to monitor which campaigns are doing the best and to put more of the budget towards that. So next, let's talk about the challenges in dental marketing. There are more and more practices opening up every single year, and it's leading to a lot of fierce competition, especially in California, especially in the PPO practices. So let's talk about DSOs. DSOs are just outspending when it comes to marketing. When it was the year 2010, there were about 100 DSOs. Right now in the United States, there's 8,000 plus DSOs. These guys will always be able to outspend you when it comes to marketing, which is why I say it's so important to focus on organic, good content, good videos, good quality. Don't focus on trying to be the biggest dental practice. Focus on, I do amazing work for my local community, and that's why you should come see me. And the reality is retention. Patient demographics are constantly changing. Work relocation is becoming more common. And when you buy a practice, don't think that you get the full book of business immediately. There's going to be natural attrition. There's going to naturally be patients. I don't know what percentage of attrition. Could be 16, could be 20, could be 30. It all depends. But you need to focus on how do I make sure that when I buy the practice, if I'm going to do an acquisition, that I ensure that all of these patients stay with me. And I believe that if you can show them through your online that you are a great practice founder and you're a great dentist and you've worked with patients that have really gotten dramatic results with you, they're more likely to stay. And the traditional marketing is declining. Paper mailers, radio, Telemundo, billboards. I live in Las Vegas. Do you know how many implant billboards there are? I always think to myself, this guy has a giant billboard, but he doesn't have any way of tracking how many patients he gets from it every single month. Everything you do needs to be steeped into data. You need to know exactly what is your return on investment if you're going to run 4 or 5 different sources of marketing. And the reality is word of mouth, it's becoming less important. I'll tell you an example. I had someone tell me, if I might recommend a dentist, I've had a great time with this dentist, you should go see her. Okay, my friend is still going to look online. My friend is still going to look at reviews. My friend is still probably going to go on Instagram and get blasted by other dentists. It's not as strong anymore, not in this digital age. Don't rely on word of mouth. Go create your own content to be able to get patients to trust you before they come to your practice. And in conclusion, I'm going to run one video, very short video with Dr. Austin of Malibu Dentistry. And from the time we started working together, even before that until now, what kind of changes have you seen in your practice? Have you seen any upticks or any positive KPIs from our partnership together?
Yes, absolutely. And I wouldn't have known the degree to which we've grown if it weren't for us having a personal conversation just to see like, hey, where are you at with this SEO? How many people did you convert to actual patients that visited the website? Being able to see all of that data on the back end was huge because you can track exactly what effect the nerds have had on our business. And without going into the exact specifics of it, you will definitely get a return on your investment in terms of the amount you pay for all of their services and what you get back, you receive tenfold. So again, very grateful to the nerds for what they do.
I worked with Dr. Austin within 6 months of the time that he acquired his practice. And within that time, every day is like I get more patients from ChatGPT. I don't know how you guys are doing this. But I'm going to just give a quick conclusion, just to wrap up everything. Why is dental marketing important? Because of the increased saturation and competition. You need to build trust with patients and relationships with them before they come in. What is going to make a strong foundation? Your practice branding, your practice identity, an SEO and AI friendly website, incorporation of custom personalized content, what are some good growth strategies, local listings, organic search, multi-channel paid ads, social media marketing, and that's pretty much it, guys.